Hey
Guys,
there! I am
hi.
here with Peter Wadden with the town of Vail, and we are speaking about um, the Restore the Gore, which is a program of the town of Vail, which is part of the environmental program. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a part of the town's environmental sustainability department, and I run the Restore the Gore program, which is focused on cleaning up Gore Creek. It's listed as an impaired waterway by the state of Colorado right now due to low aquatic life, and that's not really what we want in this community. So we're trying to restore Gore Creek.
That's awesome. I actually remember when I went to school here in middle school, we did experimental learning, and we were out in Malloy Park, and we were studying those little bugs in the water and how important it is to our whole, um, you know,
Ecosystem, yeah,
ecosystem.
yeah, they're
Yes.
really the foundation of the food chain
Hmm.
in and around the aquatic system. So they feed the fish, but they feed the birds and everything on up the food chain. So they're kind of out of sight, clinging to the rocks under the water
Hmm.
most of the time. Fly anglers pay a lot of attention to them because they're what the trout love to eat and what the anglers love to mimic. But they really are the foundation of the ecosystem.
So it's so important, and the Gore Creek is, very iconic to this valley. It runs right through, and it feeds into more rivers. So, for our viewers that aren't really familiar with these waters, can you kind of shed some light on where the water levels are currently at too?
Yeah. So Gore Creek is the largest tributary of the Eagle River, and the Eagle River is the largest tributary of the Colorado to this point. There are bigger ones further downstream. So we're really at the headwaters of the hardest working river in the West. The Colorado River supplies parts of 7 states and part of Mexico with water. And right now we're looking at pretty close to peak flows in Gore Creek. It probably peaked last weekend during the GoPro Mountain Games. Um, Snowmelt driven systems like Gore Creek see about 60% of their volume of water during about a 6 week period this time of year. So it's a very
Okay.
short season of high abundance when it
Mhm.
comes to water in our mountain valleys.
Hmm. And so, what are your efforts to, capitalize on that water flow? And then, you know, when we don't have that water flow, how do you work around that?
Right, it's just going to be a couple of short weeks before we see this stream really dwindle to a trickle. And that's when we're all going to start thinking about how much water we're using.
Yes.
For most people, the majority of the water you use is on your landscape. It's
Hmm.
outdoor water, and unfortunately, that outdoor water doesn't make it back to the stream the same way that indoor water does, that's moving through the sewer treatment system, being discharged back to the stream. Outdoor water use is primarily consumed by the plants, the soils, and by evaporation. Um, so we're really trying to push people to use more native landscaping.
Hmm.
Native plants are adapted to this mountain ecosystem. They are capable of surviving on less water than ornamental trees and shrubs, than turf grass, especially. So, after 22 years of drought in Colorado and the Southwest, we're really pushing people to rethink their landscaping, move away from
Absolutely.
turf grass, and consider more native plants.
I've definitely been hearing more about these gardens that are almost more adapted to desert-like conditions, where we don't have to use so much water. And I think that's a great way for us to really think about how we can conserve. What are other ways that us locals can conserve water?
Well, like I said, outdoor water use is the most important thing. That's not to say that it's not worthwhile to try to avoid wasting water in the home.
Hmm.
But the biggest thing you can do is optimize your irrigation system. A lot of us use more water even than we need on our turf grass. About 15 minutes every other day is really all your grass is going to need to stay green. But if you want to go that extra step, it's really worthwhile to think about some of the beautiful native plants that we have here in the mountains of Colorado. Some of the things that certainly brought people like me from the Midwest to the mountain ecosystem. So why not reflect that in our landscaping by planting things like lupin, columbine, flowering dogwoods like you might be able to see behind us. These plants that are adapted to this arid, short growing season.
This is awesome information. So if people want to learn more about Restore the Gore, how can they learn more and maybe even get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, please feel free to reach out to us. We're actually doing a native plant giveaway this week.
Awesome.
So you can reach out to me about that. But check out our website, vailgov.com, under the Environmental Sustainability Department. You can find out more about all our programs and check out some of our planting resources as well.
This is awesome, Peter. So important. This is a PSA for all of you. We got to restore the Gore, take care of our land and earth. So thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.